NATO is now actively considering a naval mission in the Strait of Hormuz if the vital shipping route remains blocked into July. The move would mark a major shift, pushing the alliance closer to direct involvement in a live conflict zone driven by rising global economic pressure. The shift is no longer theoretical. NATO's top commander has openly acknowledged active consideration, signaling that internal military thinking is already underway even before political consensus is reached.
Second part of your question, absolutely. In constant contact with allies, I had a session today with the Baltic 3 and Poland to go over what some of the options were and how we might array capabilities on the eastern flank. So absolutely constant contact with allies and constantly looking at what the threat is and what do we need to adjust or do we need to adjust.
The urgency is being driven by the economic fallout. The strait carries nearly a fifth of global oil and gas flows, and its closure is sending prices soaring. A previous U.S. attempt to secure the route failed within days, exposing the risks NATO now faces if it steps in. Inside the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, divisions are widening. While some members support intervention, others fear being dragged into a wider war. Tensions with Donald Trump have intensified after allies resisted U.S. calls to act. As pressure mounts, Washington is now pulling back forces from Europe, signaling a shift in alliance dynamics even as NATO debates expanding its role in the Middle East crisis.
In accordance with President Trump's announcement, it'll be 5,000 troops coming out of Europe. As I mentioned in my opening comments, a fair number of those come from the Armored Brigade Combat Team that is returning. And the U.S. has also already announced that the previously planned deployment of a long-range fires battalion will be curtailed and will not start occurring. There's some other additional minor elements that will be shifting as well. The planning is still ongoing for what those are for another several hundred troops. And so we can talk about that a little bit later, but the total number is 5,000. On your question of, how does it impact us? Since the rotational brigade that is returning now without replacement showed up in 2022, a lot has happened in the alliance. First off, the Baltic allies and the Poles and many others have really built up their ground combat power. So there's substantially more capability in the ground domain than there was previously.
With a July deadline looming and no consensus yet, NATO faces a defining choice: stay out of the conflict, or step in to secure one of the world's most critical economic lifelines.